Hello viewers, here's the statement nobody expected. After more than 3 decades of quiet, Darlene Gino Jennings, wife of Minister Gino Jennings, has finally broken her silence. For 30 years she stood in the shadows of a high-profile ministry. Now she's stepping into the spotlight with a story that raises urgent questions. According to multiple sources, she has remained almost invisible even as her husband's ministry grew, despite marrying him back in 1990 and raising 7 children together. Now she says something changed, and what she plans to say next could upend everything. Stay tuned because what you're about to hear is exclusive, controversial, and definitely not what most people expect. In the next few minutes we'll reveal what prompted her silence, what triggered her decision now, and what happens next for the pastor, the family, and the ministry. So keep watching, this matters more than you think. Let's begin with what we know. Darlene and Gino Jennings married in April 1990, or the very end of 1989, depending on the source, when he was about 27 and she about 27 to 28. Over the next decade their household grew. They now have 7 children, 4 sons and 3 daughters, who all are reported as working with or closely connected to the ministry. On the surface it appears stable, faithful, committed, a public model of a Christian marriage. But there are signs that the picture is more complex. For years Darlene kept a low profile. Sources describe her as quiet but strong, the behind-the-scenes woman supporting her husband's work. That in itself is not unusual, but when someone chooses silence for 30 years, especially in a setting of public ministry, the decision often carries weight. The question becomes, what was she silent about? And why now speak out? Here's what appears to have changed. According to an unverified but circulating transcript, Darlene has filed for divorce and is preparing to expose alleged misconduct within the ministry of her husband. Claims of financial irregularities, manipulative control, and spiritual pressure behind closed doors. Whether every detail is confirmed or not, the suggestion alone forces us to rethink everything we believed about the marriage and the ministry. This is where the suspense kicks in. A wife, who for decades stood beside a controversial leader known for fiery preaching and strict doctrines. Jamaica Star article, Jennings once chastised women in the choir for dress and behavior. The leader whose public persona is one of unyielding authority. Now his wife may be ready to say, everything I believed changed. That creates a dramatic contrast, the image of a fortress of faith and leadership, versus the inner family circle where something perhaps didn't line up. Darlene and Gino build the foundation, church growth, children, ministry. Publicly everything aligns, the ministry expands internationally, the children begin working in the church, public criticism of Gino's strong-toned sermons intensifies. Darlene remains behind the scenes. According to claims, Darlene begins noticing discrepancies, financial records, spiritual climate, internal pressure. She begins wrestling with faith, loyalty, truth. Then she chooses, silence ends. At that moment of decision, she triggers a cascade of consequences, the institution, the spouse, the public image, all vulnerable. And the audience sees, this isn't just a marital breakup, it may be a message. That's the hook we maintain, she's not simply leaving, she's speaking out. And that means the story is bigger than one couple. Now, what could her revelations imply? If we accept the claims, or at least entertain them, then possibilities include misuse of church funds, an environment where dissent is discouraged, a top-down control culture, a leadership style built on fear rather than transparency. That tension, faith versus doubt, appearance versus truth, is what makes this a must-watch. Because the stakes are high, we're dealing with spiritual leadership, public trust, and personal transformation. But hold up, why did she wait 30 years? That question itself builds the mystery. Usually when someone speaks out after so long, it's because the cost of silence became too great. Maybe she believed she was fulfilling a sacred duty. Maybe she feared consequences. Maybe she hoped things would change internally. And then something finally broke. That moment is the turning point of our story. From her vantage, staying silent meant loyalty, identity, community. Speaking out means risk, loss, exposure. For the audience, knowing what she knows means rethinking trust. And that's what keeps us engaged, Because the shift from silence to speech carries both danger and revelation, in practical terms, for those in the congregation of the church, for people who believed in the leadership, for observers of prominent Christian figures, this could be a mirror. Are we asking the right questions of our leaders? Are we seeing what happens behind closed doors? Are we comfortable with what goes unsaid? The value of the story is not limited to one couple, it provokes reflection. What about outcomes? At the time of writing, there's no widely verified public interview from Darlene laying out every detail. But the fact that the divorce filing reportedly happened and that rumors of internal misconduct surfaced signals that the fallout is beginning. The ministry has its supporters who vehemently defend Gino. The ministry has critics who see this as validation. The question remains, will the full story come forward? And will accountability follow? Our hook stays alive. So here's the takeaway. For 30 years one woman stayed silent. Now she has chosen to speak, and that action alone moves mountains. It forces us to listen. It forces us to question. It forces us to look beyond the pulpit and into the reality of relationships, institutions, and personal truths. The full impact?